Sandoval will have to plead his case in court. Until his court date, Sandoval had to agree to wear an ankle monitor to gain his release from the detention center. Sandoval, a junior at Savannah State, was MVP of this year's HBCU Baseball All-Star Game in Atlanta. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let me put my hard hat on, go back outside, and see if these procrastination Crenshaw construction crews have shown up yet. I'm saving space for grace, but if these trucks don't show up soon, well, you already know.
Destination Crenshaw, your time is up. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580 and Bethesda Temple Church invite residents, churches, businesses, and community leaders along the Crenshaw corridor to join a vitally important community conversation Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. For years now, this community has been living with unkept promises and the devastating effects of the unfinished Destination Crenshaw construction project, leaving residents, businesses, and churches to deal with myriad problems, including the loss of parking, restricted access, traffic congestion, and the lack of emergency vehicle access when it matters most. For years now, Procrastination Crenshaw has directly contributed to the loss of customer revenue for local Black-owned businesses and, sadly, has forced the closure of some businesses along this 1.3-mile corridor. For years now, churches have been experiencing decreased attendance due to the elimination of parking, and social service programs for vulnerable fellow citizens have been altogether halted. For years now, residents have watched their quality of life erode, and nothing has been done about it. If they think they can get away with treating Black folk like second-class citizens, they better think again.
You better think about what you're trying to do to me.
This town hall meeting is a reckoning, a public witness, an opportunity for impacted community members to share their experiences for the public record as we prepare to hold those responsible accountable for this enduring nightmare. So please join us Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. This town hall meeting is free and open to the public, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, We welcome your feedback.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA, Talk 1580, download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. It's Tenacious Tuesday on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. In this first segment, I'd like to opine before I bring up our very special guest, as well as lighting it up with Liz King. Liz King is with us in this hour. It takes two wings to fly, everybody. A bird does not fly on one wing. It takes the left wing and the right wing working in tension against the same air to lift the whole body off the ground. That was the lesson the late Congressman Henry Hyde and this writer learned firsthand, foregoing what became called the Hyde-Jackson Partnership in the effort to build Chicago's long-awaited third municipal airport at Peatone. It was an improbable pairing on its face, a young African-American progressive representing the South Side and South Suburban District, starved for jobs and capital investment, joined forces with an older Anglo-conservative from Illinois' northwest suburbs, a man whose communities were already flourishing to the point that their very prosperity had become a political problem of its own. Congestion, and the need for regional balance. Hyde and Jackson did not agree on abortion, on taxes, on the proper size of government, but they agreed that the region needed to fly, and that meant both wings pulling in the same direction toward the same runway. That was Washington in an earlier era. It functioned, however, imperfectly because the wings themselves, however far apart, remained structurally attached to a shared body, the republic, its institutions, its willingness to trade. Today's problem is not the wings, it's the wingtips. At the left edge, the DSA and the most maximalist flank of the Bernie Sanders coalition have in places substituted purity for persuasion, treating coalition building itself as a form of betrayal. At the rightward edge, the Trump MAGA coalition has in places substituted loyalty for law, treating institutions themselves as the enemy rather than the arena. Neither extreme is interested any longer in the Hyde-Jackson model, in which two people who fundamentally disagree nonetheless built something together because they both believed in the body they were attached to. Both wingtips, in their own way, have concluded that the body is the problem, that the republic itself must be reconstituted or torn down before anything worth building can be built. That's not a debate. That's a structural failure. A wing torn at the tip does not merely lose lift on one side, it destabilizes the whole aircraft, sending it into a spin with no single wing. Never strong enough to correct the course alone. This is what it means to say the country is splitting down the seams, not left-right disagreement of the ordinary kind, but a fraying at the extremities that threatens the stitching holding the whole garment together. The German philosopher Hegel offered a framework worth recovering here. Thesis meets antithesis, and out of that collision, not by splitting the difference, but by genuine synthesis, a higher unity emerges that preserves what is true in each side while transcending what is false. Dr. King understood this instinctively when he spoke of the beloved community. He did not ask the mob to become marchers or the marchers to become the mob. He asked both to recognize a truth that stood above their present positions, that no one is free until we're all free, and that machinery of violence, however righteous and stated as its cause, corrodes the hand that operates it. That is the work now required, not the tips, but at the root. The DSA's thesis is a truth that markets left fully to themselves produce dynasties of wealth alongside deserts of opportunity, and the government has an affirmative role in closing that gap. MAGA's antithesis carries a truth as well, that distant institutions, unaccountable and often contemptuous of the communities they govern, breed a legitimate anger that cannot simply be shamed into silence. The synthesis is neither program, It is the older, harder discipline of the Hyde-Jackson model. Two people, arm's length in ideology, building one runway because they never stopped believing they belonged to the same country. Howard Thurman wrote about the reconciliation begins with an inward journey before it can ever become an outward act, that a person or a people must first come to peace with themselves before they can extend the peace to an adversary. The Republic's wingtips would do well to take that journey. The rest of us, the broad body of the bird, still structurally sound, still capable of flight, would do well to insist on it. Two wings, one bird. It has always been thus, and it will have to be thus again if the Republic ever intends to leave the ground. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. When we come forward, we'll be lighting it up with Liz King right here on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
Michael's tax debt with the IRS was an absolute nightmare.
I ended up owing about $160,000.
Then he found out about Clarity Tax Relief.
Clarity Tax Relief are some of the nicest people. It's like being part of a family.
And when it was over,
Clarity Tax Relief saved me a boatload of money, and the garnishment stopped, which was a beautiful thing.
call Clarity Tax Relief now. 800-644-5111. 800-644-5111. Individual results may vary. Visit claritytaxrelief.com for more information.
There is no denying that we've always been the conscience of this country. KBLA Talk 1580 is progressive talk radio built for our community, by our community, and with hosts who look like you, live near you, and care about what you care about. 50,000 watts of truth right here in Southern California. KBLA Talk 1580. Listen live on your AM radio dial at 1580 or stream us live on our KBLA1580.com website or on our free KBLA 1580 app.
Unapologetically progressive.
Don't be anxious or confused about AI. Take control of your career when you get the skills to tackle real business problems and design specialized solutions. HR Dive reported that entry-level talent with applied AI credentials can receive up to a 25% salary boost. But where do you find training that you can trust? Future-proof your career and deliver more value with Humans Lead the Way AI. Their hybrid learning courses use practical definitions, real-world examples, and strategic insights to help you and your team understand AI with confidence. No magic, no hacks, no shortcuts. Just practical knowledge that helps you use AI more successfully. Don't wait. AI can never replace people who know how to use it well. Register for courses today at humansleadtheway.com. That's humansleadtheway.com.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. It's Tenacious Tuesday, and on this day in our first hour, Liz King, who formerly served as the Education Equity Senior Program Director for the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, a position that she held since 2015. The Leadership Conference is a coalition charged by a diverse membership of more than 240 organizations to promote civil and protect the civil and human rights of all persons in the United States. I'm honored that Liz is a regular contributor here on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Prior to joining that conference, she served as Senior Policy Associate for my former colleague, Congressman Shaka Fattah, meaning her knowledge on Capitol Hill is just as vast as her mind and thinking. Liz, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show and Tenacious
Thank you so much,
Tuesday.
Congressman. It's the best part of any week. Always good to be here.
I am so glad you're here. And we have a very special guest who will be joining us in this hour, Shawan Jackson, founder and executive director of Vocal Justice, a national education nonprofit that builds youth power and social justice literacy in schools across the country. Boy, we need that. He teaches communication at Stanford's Graduate School of Business, where he works with MBA students and executives on the craft of persuasion, presence, and purpose-driven narratives. His work spans nonprofits and philanthropic organizations, and he doesn't shy away at all from the lens of racial participation and racial equity. Shawan, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that you're here. Liz, there's so much going on in the world. Liz, why don't I pitch this to you to get us started?
Yeah, no, Congressman, I was just looking it up. It's 105 days until the midterms, and there is so much going on. I think, I know for folks on the West Coast, this life with wildfires has a weird routine typicalness to it. But we here in the DC area have been dealing with the wildfire smoke from Canada. And I think it is producing all of these metaphors with the fire. The sky is literally on fire. We are being reminded that there is no wall tall enough that will keep the smoke in your neighbor's yard out of your yard. And we are all connected. So I think we're seeing right now the Trump administration is trying to tariff its way out of wildfires. That's not how this works. I think we are on some level moving on from the madness around the reflecting pool and all of that. At the same time, we've got a canoeist who has been indicted. But the Iran war is officially a quagmire. These Democrats are out here eating their own. And I think part of what I was really excited about to have Shawan here is we're hearing these Democrats talk about, wringing their hands about, oh my gosh, how do we talk about poverty? How do we talk about economic inequality? It is inconceivable. I cannot imagine what it's like to go to a grocery store on my own because I have people for that. And what does it mean when you have a Democratic Party that is in so many ways owned by people who have no relationship with economic anxiety? And so Shawan works on a project that is about helping young people find their voice, tell their own stories, and talk about economic justice. And so what I hope we hear in the next 105 days is competing visions for an economically just future in the United States. Is that going to be the Democratic Socialists of America? Is that going to be MAGA? Is that going to be traditional Democrats? New Deal, the New Democrats and all of that. What is this going to look like? So there's a lot going on here in Washington and certainly around the country. And the big question is, are you better off than you were 2 years ago? I think the universe of people who can say that all have the same last name, and that is Trump. And so I'm really excited to talk to you today, Congressman, about what all of this, all that's going on. I didn't even mention the ridiculous morass that is the student loan system right now that's making it harder for people who pursued their dreams an economic opportunity to pay back that debt. So very glad to have Shawan on, very glad to be here and looking forward to the conversation.
I am as well. Shawan, share with us, in light of what Liz has just said, what that messaging looks like and what you're hearing out here in the field.
Mm-hmm. Thank you all for having me. And Liz, I think your assessment on where we are right now and what the critical moment ahead is spot on. And I think what this means in terms of messaging is we really got to lean into keeping it real. I think what we're hearing from young people and across many age groups is they are tired of the abstract language, the elitism that tends to come from a lot of our politicians who, to Liz's point, are so removed from the day-to-day crises, frankly, that so many of our young people are facing. And if somebody can just speak plainly about what it means to have to make a choice between buying more medicine or getting more groceries for your family, and what it means to feel disillusioned with our political systems right now and wonder whether or not your vote is going to matter. If we can't speak directly to those issues from any political party, then I think you're going to continue to see trust amongst young people go down in our political systems.
Brother Jackson, let me ask you a question. Is this a framework problem? Let's say that Henry Ford produces a vehicle called the car.
Mm-hmm.
Now, A left-wing person might be driving the car. A right-wing person might be driving the car. But the airbags need to be consistent. The seat belts need to be consistent. There's a framework, 4 wheels, a secure engine, a secure gas pump. The framework, is this a framework issue, or is this just a function of direction and a function of who's driving the vehicle?
And when you say framework, can you share a bit more about how that applies to this political moment?
I mean, I think our economic system is a wide open machine in a field without a driver, and it's going to generate, it's either going to pick corn, it's either going to shuck corn, or a wide open machine is as dangerous as anything imaginable without a fundamental direction. I mean, is the direction of our system to provide an equal high quality education for all Americans? Is the direction of our system to provide health care of equal high quality for all Americans? Is the direction of our system, if we're going to be a democracy, the fundamental right to vote for all Americans? Is that a structural, that for me is a structural problem. And I don't care if AOC is driving the car. I don't care who's driving the car, as long as the car is going in the direction that builds a more perfect union for all Americans. In that direction makes sense. But I'm concerned that we've given up on the idea that the car works at all. The car works at all.
Yeah, and I mean, there's good reason why I think people question whether or not the car works at all. To continue your analogy, I think first and foremost, yes, if you talk to, I think the average American, they're going to agree that we need some type of system, right? Our existing political bodies who are going to move us towards increased affordability for everyone, for high quality education for our young people, to healthcare as a right for everyone. I think there is a lot of agreement on that. I think, though, that this is not just a question about making sure we have a really compelling vision. We need a trusted driver in that car. And what we've seen is that there are a lot of people who can speak what sounds like a really powerful message during a campaign season. And then when they're actually in that car, they're taking all types of detours that are not keeping us aligned on that North Star. And so naturally, people question, of course, if that car is still going to work. And so I am a big proponent, yes, in having a more compelling and concrete vision for where we want to take this country. But I do think we have to think very carefully about who our drivers are, who our messengers are, because this is a people sport at the end of the day. And if you don't trust who that individual is, then I think we lose everything.
Liz, I remember AOC's voice when she first got elected to Congress. And at some point in time, after a few battles with Nancy Pelosi, AOC went through a period of quiet. It's almost like she had to recognize that this is a big institution that's like turning a battleship. And there was a time when I was in the Congress of the United States. I mean, I was a bad dude when I was running for Congress in 1995. I had all the idealism in the world, but in the final analysis, I had 3 people for every 1 job in my congressional district. And the example I used in my opine was that Henry Hyde had 3 jobs for every 1 person. So we were always driving, and we still are, from the south side of Chicago all the way to the northwest side of Chicago just to get to work. No one's fighting to come to our neighborhoods to get to work, and the imbalance is just stark. So it took 2 wings to fly. I had to hook up with Henry Hyde whether I wanted to or not. We had agreements on nothing, not abortion, not budget, not the direction of the government, not the direction of the car. But bro, listen, you've got your own set of problems. It's called urban sprawl. It's called people can't get sleep because of these aircraft flying over your communities. And we're begging for aircraft to come this way if we can build a new runway. Is that idea, the idea that we can bring 2 wings together to move the country forward, a foregone conclusion that it's over? Or is it something that we should see some vision in? Because in the final analysis, Democrats regain control of the Congress. We're still going to have to work together to get something done.
I think
No, after you, Liz.
No, I think the reality is the overwhelming majority of people in this country have more in common than they are different, no matter what else is true about them. And they are in the habit of working together to solve problems because that's how life works. We are currently thinking about this recent housing bill as a very clear example. I mean, you had Elizabeth Warren working with Senator Tim Scott. It's not that people don't know how to do this. It's not that they don't know how to come together. It's that the guy who's in charge said he wasn't going to put his name on the bill unless they promised to take the vote away from people. I mean, come on. I think the reality is that there are a lot of people who are willing to do this work. There are also a lot of people, Wade Henderson always talks about the skunk in the dinner party. There are a lot of people who are out here polluting the atmosphere. There are a lot of people who are making it harder to work together, but there are people who are willing to do the work, willing to come together, willing to see the humanity in their opponent and to find a constructive path forward. The problem continues to be this president has no interest in that. And I think we have yet to figure out how do you move forward in that kind of context and in that environment. I keep thinking about Cornel West and the way that he talks about the problems of nihilism. And it is true. It is terrifying to think that there are so many Americans who may have given up on the idea that the Constitution is real, that the Constitution could protect us, that our laws are there to serve us, that our government is there to serve us, is just awful. But then you watch what Mamdani is doing in New York, right? So you remember that, on the Reagan's thing, I'm the government, the scariest words in the English language, I'm the government and I'm here to help. And Mamdani flipped that on his head and said, the scariest words in the English language are, I worked all day and I can't feed my kids. That is a sentiment that almost everyone in this country can identify with. Maybe not Elon Musk, but maybe he shouldn't be in charge. So I think there are a lot of people willing to do the work, willing to come together. That Hyde-Jackson model, I think, can come back. The question is, to Shawan's point, are we going to find the leaders who will help us get there, who will give the permission, who will create the space, create the ground so that people can come together across lines of difference to solve problems together?
Brother Jackson.
Yes, I think what I would add here is two things. One is that the problem of political polarization is not new, right? I think it's becoming increasingly a problem now because of social media and the fragmentation of our news sources, where people are developing incomplete and inaccurate narratives about people who hold different political ideologies because of the messages that they're consuming. But what we also know is that if we can have people actually come together in person, get out of the narrow messages that they're believing about other people, they're more than willing to work together because they realize, to Liz's point, just how much they have in common, which is I want to be able to take care of generations above me and those below me and be able to enjoy my life with my family and friends as well. And so I think we really have to think more about that in-person engagement piece. I'm also thinking about what gives me hope at the local level. There are so many individuals across political parties who are coming together in community to resist groups like ICE that are coming into their neighborhoods. And it's just saying, okay, let's all come together and support one another. And so I don't think it's foregone that partnership is a possibility, but I think we have to really think about how do we disrupt these really damaging narratives that promote stereotypes about folks at either end of the spectrum, get folks together in person more, do more at the local level so that we can really see this power of partnership is possible.
Shawan, we have about 2 minutes before we come to our break. Share with me your thoughts about how we actually accomplish that. I mean, I appreciate what you're saying about media fragmentation, narrative fragmentation, and the way in which it's being presented, but how do we overcome that?
Mm-hmm. I think about what can happen at the education level, which is the space that I work in, of course. And then I also think about what needs to happen structurally in the government. So I do think that schools are our most powerful sites of socialization. And so the more we can think about how do we diversify our learning environment so that students can be exposed to folks of all types of political persuasions and different class backgrounds, the more they can start to see that there's complexity to the identities that people hold and that no one is just in a box that social media or the news might portray them as. I'm also thinking about money in politics. I think a lot of what is keeping polarization in place right now is directly linked to lobbying. If there's a financial incentive for you to maintain a particular position in order to get reelected, I don't have to tell you this, Congressman. Of course, there's an incentive for people to do that. And we often hear about news sources where individuals say, well, behind the scenes, X representative actually is a bit more reasonable, but they have to put on a particular posture in order to maintain that financial support. So long term, I'm definitely thinking about how do we get money out of politics so that people can just focus on pushing forward the messages of their constituents and not those who have the greatest amount of wealth.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We're lighting it up on this Tenacious Tuesday with Liz King. Our very special guest is Shawan Jackson. This brother teaches at Stanford University and has an equitable racial lens on some of the challenges that are confronting our nation. He's part of a new generation of leadership that we want you to hear from on the 405, the 101, the 5, the 10, the 118, the 110 in Los Angeles, California. We are doing our part to build a more perfect union, and we're doing and encouraging you to do yours by making sure you pay attention to what's being said on programming like this right here at KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Esther Dillard with BIN News Now. Another soldier killed over the weekend during the conflict in Iran. This one identified as 30-year-old Sergeant Michael Emmanuel Swinton of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Pentagon officials say the black soldier was killed in action during a controlled detonation of a drone at Erbil Air Base in northern Iraq. Here's President Trump responding Monday on CNN.
Well, we feel very badly, but those great people, those great patriots are out there fighting that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
Jury selection continues in a case involving a woman accused of calling a young child a racial slur in a Rochester, Minnesota playground. Opening statements are expected once the jury is selected. And civil rights activist, the Reverend Al Sharpton, announced a $50,000 reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction in the death of 18-year-old Nolan Wells. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The immigration crackdown by the Trump administration has made its way to HBCU sports. Johan Sandoval, a star infielder for the baseball team at HBCU Savannah State University in Georgia, is free today after spending more than 2 weeks in detention at an ICE immigration facility in Batavia, New York. Sandoval, a native of the Dominican Republic, was detained by ICE agents after a traffic stop in New York City on July 3rd. Sandoval said he showed the agents a valid ID and proper immigration documentation. ICE officials claim Sandoval's student visa had expired. Sandoval will have to plead his case in court. Until his court date, Sandoval had to agree to wear an ankle monitor to gain his release from the detention center. Sandoval, a junior at Savannah State, was MVP of this year's HBCU Baseball All-Star Game in Atlanta. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Roger and Tracy saved over $18,400. Cynthia was recovering from a family tragedy and saved over $10,300. If you are drowning in debt, then call Debt Blue. Debt Blue is a professional debt negotiation firm with over 20 years of experience helping people pay back a fraction of what they owe. Learn how to cut your debt up to half or maybe more. Be debt-free in 24 to 48 months, even with bad credit. With an A+ rating from the BBB, you can rest easy knowing Debt Blue is going to deliver guaranteed debt reduction. Debt Blue offers a success guarantee. You pay nothing unless your debt is reduced or completely resolved. That's right. You save money or it's free. Call now for significant debt relief and a free consultation. 800-200-8879. That's 800-200-8879. You don't have to declare bankruptcy. This program works if you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in debt. Call for your free consultation today. 800-200-8879. That's 800-200-8879.
Did you know the Crenshaw Corridor now offers free public Wi-Fi? Thanks to Destination Crenshaw in the city of Los Angeles, staying connected is easier than ever. Whether you're checking email, applying for jobs, doing homework, or supporting your local business, free internet access is now available along the corridor because everyone deserves the opportunity to connect, learn, and grow. To find Wi-Fi locations and learn more, visit www.getconnected.lacity.gov.
Oh no! Straight the roof down.
Oh, look at time.
Please, God, save us. Save our house. Please, God, please.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we haven't forgotten what happened Tuesday, January 7th, 2025.
The trauma, processing the loss of our home. How do we address the compounding effect of the fire now more than 18 months later? I noticed one of my 3 children engaged in self-harm who hasn't been able to articulate the challenges that they've had since the fire. And 4 out of the 5 folks in our household are in therapy. 1 is not. And the one that's not is the one who I noticed with some marks on their person. This isn't okay. You need to talk to someone.
Black Historical Memory keeps alive the stories and struggles of everyday people and communities. Black Historical Memory preserves truths that others attempt to erase, minimize, or distort. Black Historical Memory prevents history from repeating its worst chapters. At KBLA Talk 1580, we will never forget. Tune into Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr, weekends on KBLA Talk 1580. 1580.
You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580. We don't tell you what to think, just what to think about. You know him, you trust him, and now the whole nation is taking notice. Talkers Magazine, the Bible of talk radio, has ranked Tavis Smiley number 14 on their prestigious Heavy 100 list. 100 voices, the most important in all of talk radio. Tavis has moved from number 45 to number 33 to number 16, and now he's in the top 15, right here on your station. His is one of the most trusted, credible, and reliable voices in broadcast media today. Straight, no chaser, always. Tavis brings you the conversations that matter, the newsmakers, the truth tellers, the voices that don't get heard anywhere else. Weekdays on this station. This is what it sounds like when your community has a seat at the table.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Wally drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We're lighting it up this Tenacious Tuesday with Liz King. Liz and I have a very special guest in Shawan Jackson, founder and executive director of Vocal Justice, a national education nonprofit that builds youth power and social justice literacy in schools across the country. He teaches communications at Stanford's Graduate School of Business, where he works with MBA students, executives on the craft of persuasion, presence, and purpose-driven narratives. His work spans nonprofits and philanthropic organizations, helping organizations find the story that holds up under pressure, facilitating high-stakes convenings where diverse stakeholders build shared understanding, and coaching individual leaders to speak with greater clarity, authority, and authenticity. He brings a racial equity lens to everything he does, believing that the most transformative communication work is also the most honest work. Liz and Shawan, welcome forward and welcome back to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you, Congressman. Always good to be here.
Likewise. Appreciate y'all having me.
Man, it's an honor to have you here, Shawan. Listen, let me ask you a question. Tell me about your work and tell me what you're learning from the students that you are working with in this particular environment.
Mm-hmm. For context, we are a national education nonprofit that really focuses on the power of storytelling for social change. We have a 30 lesson plan curriculum that we provide to middle and high school teachers that equips their students to identify their authentic perspectives on social issues and learn how to communicate that with a lot of power. And we've been working with young people across the country for many years now. First pilot was back in 2019. And I think what we are learning from our young people is just how hungry they are to actually do a lot of social change work. There is a stereotype out there that young people are disillusioned with politics and therefore don't want to do anything. That disillusionment is real. Trust is going down in public institutions with young people in particular. That is backed by the data. But the story is more complicated, where we're hearing from our students, hey, I really want to speak up. I really want to engage civically. And I'm actually looking for some partnership to develop my skills to do that. It might not be through traditional political engagement, but there are other things that I can do at the local level, at my school, with my family, in order to make some type of change. And so I think that's what's been very heartening for me, is seeing that hunger, that drive from our young people that disrupts this idea that they're just fully complacent and therefore inactive. And we're also hearing from students how powerful it is when they see adults around them who are saying, I'm going to step out of your way and let you take the lead, and not presuppose my ideas of what social change needs to look like, but instead really allow it to be youth-led.
Shawan, how can we support your work?
Oh, I appreciate that question. First and foremost, we are thinking a lot about supporting high school principals to integrate more social justice learning and youth leadership into their school. So if you know a school leader that says, I am excited about youth power, I'm excited about social change, but I'm not really sure, how do I actually make this happen? What does the curriculum need to look like? How do I train my teachers? How do I get money to do this work effectively? We would love to talk to that principal and think about how we can bring some of our offerings to that space. So that's the first thing, is reach out. My email is at vocaljustice.org if you can support in that way. And then the second thing is, we are thinking a lot about narrative change right now, and really shifting this idea about what young people can and should be doing. And so for folks who have a background in communications and messaging, who want to support us as we are thinking through that work, we will love to hear from you. And lastly, of course, as a nonprofit executive director, I always have to make a funding pitch. If you are ever so in a position to support, we take all types of donations, of course, and folks can contribute at vocaljustice.org.
Thank you, Shawan. Hey, Liz, you know what? In listening to Shawan in this moment, I'm saying to myself that Donald Trump is a symbol, that maybe he's just a scab on top of a deeper wound of engagement and lack of trust that people, and young people in particular, have with our system, with our institutions, and with the idea of how the system itself is delivering for people. Liz, Donald Trump has only made it worse, but he's brought to the forefront something that I get the impression Brother Shawan Jackson is actually trying to address in a more substantive, detailed way. Liz?
Yeah, absolutely. The point that people are angry about how they've been mistreated, the point that our system excludes them and marginalizes them and tells them they don't matter, and tells them that what they believe is unimportant. I mean, that is a very real and honest critique, exactly to your point at the beginning of the show, Congressman, that what people have been saying here, what they are trying to communicate about the way in which they have been forgotten and left behind. I think your father talked about this all the time, right? The way in which people talk about having been forgotten and left behind is real. It is honest. It is true. And it doesn't have to be about hurting other people. It is Donald Trump who's taking that and weaponizing it. And so really, if we're going to see more politicians saying, don't believe your lying eyes, everything is fine, you don't need to be so angry, don't worry, the elite has your back, don't worry, the economic system is going to work out for you. If we keep hearing politicians say that from whatever political party, it's going to do nothing for us to rebuild. Exactly to your point, Congressman, we need to get back to the idea that we are all part of one body here, and that is the only path forward.
Liz, let's say that Donald Trump has weaponized it. Why the tone deafness in the Democratic Party?
Well, I think
they're the recipients of all of our votes and all of our, a lot of our so-called left-wing activity. Why the tone deafness from them? Why the insurgents, if you will, of Bernie Sanders and AOC and the congressional candidates who are successful in New York and Mamdani and their leadership? It matters at this hour, and the people are paying attention. How'd this sneak up on the Democratic Party?
I mean, you look at what happened in Maine, right? They went and invented a candidate out of whole cloth. Turns out he was a real human being after all. So we need to be recruiting candidates from everywhere, from every bar, from every field and farm, and from every hospital and classroom. I just want to call out, I was watching a markup, a House committee markup earlier today, and Jahana Hayes was bringing it. Brilliant congresswoman from Connecticut, not very well known, deserves to be better known. And she had to deal with some real hateful intolerance from Mary Miller, congresswoman from a really hateful congresswoman from Illinois. And Jahana Hayes brought it. And she showed us what leadership looks like, what dignity looks like. And she came to Congress from the classroom. She was a teacher before she was elected to Congress. And so I think that Democrats need to do a better job looking for potential leaders in every aspect of our society. Every single one of those young people that Shawan has been working with needs to be asked, hey, do you want to run for office? Hey, do you want to be governor of California one day? Hey, have you ever thought about being mayor of your city? There is incredible talent. We need to find it in places where they're not going to have to read a fact sheet about how to talk to poor people. I mean, it's nonsense. The right comes for AOC and they call her out for the way in which she's able to relate to real people as if it's some kind of act. She has the benefit of speaking authentically from her own experience. So we need to recognize the virtue of the diverse experiences of Americans in all kinds of ways and places and find opportunities for them to lead the future of our country.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We're lighting it up with Liz King right here on Tenacious Tuesday. When we come forward, a couple more questions of Brother Siobhan Jackson when we come forward, but also give him an honest opportunity to share with us an authentic message. We're leaving the final 3 minutes of our show for our very special guest, Shawan Jackson, to deliver to the country a word of hope. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Listen up, KBLA delegation. We have something you need to hear. Right now, you may qualify for low-cost home internet. We're not talking about a catch. This is real. Many internet service providers offer low-cost internet plans if anyone in your household is enrolled in CalFresh, Medi-Cal, SSI, or is income eligible. There are a lot of families in our community who deserve to be connected. Here's all you do. Call 844-461-7893. That's the Get Connected call center. Real people ready to help you enroll today. Or go online to internetforallnow.org to find a provider near you. You may also qualify for a low-cost computer through Human IT. Connectivity is not a luxury. In 2026, it's a necessity, and you deserve access just like everybody else. Call 844-461-7893. That's 844-461-7893. KBLA's got you. If you missed any of this, you can always go to our website at KBLA1580.com. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 in partnership with the California Emerging Technology Fund, CETF.
The Sickle Cell Community Consortium Warrior Convention, sponsored in part by Agios and Pfizer, is July 22nd through 26th. Sickle cell education, entertainment, and family fun. Free hotel scholarships are available. Register now at sicklecellconvention.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. These are hard times for housing in America. Too many in our community face barriers to safe housing, behavioral health care, and affirming spaces for healing, particularly those impacted by poverty and stigma or incarceration. Rooted in South LA, Ahmad supports impacted communities through housing, wellness, and leadership development. Ahmad provides culturally responsive, peer-led support from transitional housing and mental health services to leadership development and youth empowerment. They offer safe, affirming houses for youth, transgender women, and formerly incarcerated individuals. Therapy and peer support with a focus on healing trauma in Black communities. HIV prevention and care, free testing, education, and wraparound services for whole person wellness. Standing in the gap with health, housing, and hope. Reach out to Ahmad Institute at 323-569-1610. That's 323-569-1610. Or visit amaad.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. The midterm election campaign season is here now.
The 2028 presidential election is right around the corner. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. It's all in for 2026 and 2028. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. A-rated by the Better Business Bureau, their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We're lighting it up with Liz King, and I'm so grateful that Liz has introduced me today and brought Shawan Jackson, founder and executive director of Vocal Justice, to our program. Liz, to you and to Shawan, I hope Shawan is a regular guest on our program and is willing to come back. Liz, let me ask you this question, but let me ask this question of Shawan, because I think Liz closed on an important point and Shawan did not get a chance to respond. Generationally, Shawan, there was a generation that was asked by a president of the United States, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Do you sense, and I'm 61 years old, and so I have to get some feedback from those of you who are a little bit younger than I am, that this generation, based upon what you're experiencing, are responding to that call?
Absolutely. Look, I always want to see more civic engagement about what we can be doing, but I do see maybe not traditional forms of civic engagement that we've seen in the past in terms of running for office or voting at the levels that I would want to see. But we are seeing care that's happening for communities, especially at the local level. I see it all the time with the students in our Vocal Justice program. So there's still a lot more to do, but I actually have a lot of hope based on the actions that we're seeing today. I think about some of the students that we have, for example, and outside of Atlanta, Georgia, many of whom are undocumented youth who put together an event in their community to talk about food deserts and how they can promote more nutrition in their communities, or a group of students in New York that we supported this past year who said, we want to help more students be able to think about their college and career pathways, and we're going to use AI as a way that can support some of our students. And so there's definitely pockets of action that's happening. I think the opportunity is for more of that to happen within our political systems. I have a huge sadness that I hold about the fact that so many people don't want to run for office because they don't think that our political systems are going to make any change. And I understand where that critique comes from, because we have seen very little impactful change that has happened from our elected representatives. But I think there is opportunity for us to translate that energy that's happening outside of those political systems and get some of those young people and other folks to say, okay, how can I bring some of that real energy and hope to our government?
Liz, I'm going to allow you the opportunity to respond. Let's try and save a few minutes for Brother Shawan's word of hope at the end. Liz?
Yeah, I think Shawan's example and reminder that civic engagement can look all kinds of ways. And what matters most is that you raise your voice and that you get involved. And whether that is looking out for your neighbor who isn't able to pay the bills this month, or looking out for your neighbor, as I did earlier today, when ICE rolls up on your neighborhood, or looking out for your neighbor who just needs something to do after school, that every one of us can serve our neighbor. Every one of us can build a beloved community together. And every one of us can be part of a two-winged bird that actually can fly with that level of cohesion. And so, yeah, absolutely. Everything that Shawan just said, there's so many opportunities to serve, and anyone can be great because anyone can serve.
Liz, wait a second now. You don't make news ending the program by telling us ICE pulled up on your neighborhood today. Is that what happened?
Yeah, it is not an uncommon occurrence. And so I busted out my white complected self, and I walked there, and I stood and I looked at the scary vehicle that was looking to kidnap my neighbors. And I let them know that I was watching them. I let them know that I was watching them. And that is what we do today. And that is what today calls for. And tomorrow we'll call for something else. And every one of us, every day, will show up in whatever way we can.
I love that. Go, Liz, go, Liz, go. Shawan Jackson.
Liz has been a fighter since we first connected many years ago, and long before that. I am sure, and it's beautiful to hear about that work that you're continuing to do. And I really appreciate the way Liz said there are expansive ways to show up civically and for each other. And I think what my challenge is to all of us who are adults is to not have a narrow way that we think about who can be a leader and what leadership looks like. I think what we have seen in the civic leadership development space across nonprofits is that we really want to go after the young people who are thriving academically, who are compliant, who are eloquent speakers, but that really restricts the ideas that are going to be elevated if we only have a particular type of person. And so I really think about the quiet kid who might be sitting in the back, who has incredible ideas on how to transform their school systems, but has not had a teacher look at them and say, you can be a phenomenal leader in our school, because they don't fit the mold of what a good leader is. I also think about how our elected officials don't have to be someone who went to law school and speak a certain way, but could really be someone who intimately understands the issues that their community is facing, is going to keep it real with folks about what the opportunities are and what the shortcomings are, and will constantly engage with their constituents to realize their visions for equity. And so that doesn't require any particular race or ethnicity or gender or pedigree. It requires people who have that deep compassion and commitment to making change. And so that is my final ask to everyone who is listening again, is to really think expansively about what leadership can look like and how we can show up for one another, which I think instills and maintains a level of hope that can get us through the literal and metaphorical fires that we are dealing with today.
Shawan, I love that. I also think I heard you say that there is a leadership class that needs to be cultivated that's essentially invisible. The student in the back of the classroom, or even the vocal student who never considered public office. I guess on the question of the content of their faith, and I know we don't have much time, on the content of their faith, do they see themselves as being the change that they desire in the world, to the extent that while the entire political system may be astray, that they themselves can be the force that brings the good to the entire system and actually generate a new generation of people who are more inspired to public service?
Some certainly do. I've been inspired by how many young adults are running for office and gaining a lot of traction on the progressive side. But unfortunately, many young people do not view themselves that way. We are all products of our environment. And as much as we can try to tell ourselves, I am confident, I am powerful, I can make a change, we need adults around us. We need communities that are going to elevate the power that we might not see ourselves. And so I think it's incumbent not just on young people to shift their internal narratives, but everyone around them to really say, you have incredible power. I am going to champion that authentically. And ultimately, I'm going to get out of the way so that you can make the change that you know this world needs.
Shawan, thank you for being our guest today.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Liz, thank you for lighting it up.
Thank you, Congressman. Always wonderful.
Liz, I love you much, and there's nothing you can do about it. And thank you very much for bringing Shawan Jackson to our program. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. It's Tenacious Tuesday. Up next, Barbara Arnwine right here. Put your seatbelt on. We're going to be on the grind with Barbara Arnwine in just a moment.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Esther Dillard with BIN News Now. Another soldier killed over the weekend during the conflict in Iran. This one identified as 30-year-old Sergeant Michael Emmanuel Swinton of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Pentagon officials say the black soldier was killed in action during a controlled detonation of a drone at Erbil Air Base in northern Iraq. Here's President Trump responding Monday on CNN.
Well, we feel very badly, but those great people, those great patriots are out there fighting that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
Jury selection continues in a case involving a woman accused of calling a young child a racial slur in a Rochester, Minnesota playground. Opening statements are expected once the jury is selected. And civil rights activist, the Reverend Al Sharpton, announced a $50,000 reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction in the death of 18-year-old Nolan Wells. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The immigration crackdown by the Trump administration has made its way to HBCU sports. Johan Sandoval, a star infielder for the baseball team at HBCU Savannah State University in Georgia, is free today after spending more than 2 weeks in detention at an ICE immigration facility in Batavia, New York. Sandoval, a native of the Dominican Republic, was detained by ICE agents after a traffic stop in New York City on July 3rd. Sandoval said he showed the agents a valid ID and proper immigration documentation. ICE officials claim Sandoval's student visa had expired. Sandoval will have to plead his case in court. Until his court date, Sandoval had to agree to wear an ankle monitor to gain his release from the detention center. Sandoval, a junior at Savannah State, was MVP of this year's HBCU Baseball All-Star Game in Atlanta. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Let me put my hard hat on, go back outside, and see if these procrastination Crenshaw construction crews have shown up yet. I'm saving space for grace, but if these trucks don't show up soon, well, you already know. Destination Crenshaw, your time is up. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580 and Bethesda Temple Church invite residents, churches, businesses, and community leaders along the Crenshaw corridor to join a vitally important community conversation Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. For years now, this community has been living with unkept promises and the devastating effects of the unfinished Destination Crenshaw construction project, leaving residents, businesses, and churches to deal with myriad problems, including the loss of parking, restricted access, traffic congestion, and a lack of emergency vehicle access when it matters most. For years now, Procrastination Crenshaw has directly contributed to the loss of customer revenue for local Black-owned businesses and, sadly, has forced the closure of some businesses along this 1.3-mile corridor. For years now, churches have been experiencing decreased attendance due to the elimination of parking, and social service programs for vulnerable fellow citizens have been altogether halted. For years now, residents have watched their quality of life erode, and nothing has been done about it. If they think they can get away with treating Black folk like second-class citizens, they better think again.
You better think about what you're trying to do to me.
This town hall meeting is a reckoning, a public witness an opportunity for impacted community members to share their experiences for the public record as we prepare to hold those responsible accountable for this enduring nightmare. So please join us Thursday, July 30th, 6:30 p.m. at Bethesda Temple Church, 4909 Crenshaw Boulevard. This town hall meeting is free and open to the public, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Oh, 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 oh. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. It's Tenacious Tuesday, and we are on the grind, therefore, with Barbara Arnwine, born in Southern California. Arnwine is a graduate of Scripps College and the Duke University School of Law, president and founder of the Transformative Justice Coalition, internationally renowned for contributions on critical justice issues, including the passage of the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1991 and the 2006 reauthorization of provisions of the Voting Rights Act. Normally on our show, I begin with a countdown.
Stop.
I begin with a countdown because when Barbara brings it, she brings it all. But if I don't have the countdown, I already know how she's going to. 22, 21, 20, 10, 9, 8. Hey, and then if I don't have my countdown ready, Barbara says, folks. Barbara, we're on the grind with you for the next hour. Barbara, your thoughts.
It's great to be here. And I just want to start off with a shout out to everyone who has been paying attention to the Nolan Wells case. I want to thank the offers by not only Al Sharpton, but that were matched by others that has now created a $100,000 fund for information on what happened. We know that the story doesn't make sense. We know it's wrong, and they laid that young, handsome man's body to rest yesterday. 18 years old, our best, laid into the ground without any explanation or justification. I want to give kudos to the NAACP for having a whole session today on Nolan Wells, to have Ben Crump and others present to all of the, what's going on. And I am grateful, just grateful that we saw that amazing happening. And, people just forget that families, when they're in crisis, like we talked last week to Carmen Bolden, the mother of Jelani Day, I was with Ahmaud Arbery's father, Marcus Arbery, this Saturday. People forget. It's devastating. I have worked for years with Professor on the what we call the Say Her Name campaign. And we have helped, and worked with scores, more than a score of moms and family members whose loved daughters were killed by either police, mostly by police. And what we found is, Jesse, what I've seen, which is devastating, is I've seen a lot of family members just the tragedy They can't take the senselessness of it. They can't take the lack of answers. They can't take the grief. And I have had to bury family members after their loved ones were destroyed. Folks, this is serious. We have to do everything in our power to get righteous justice answers. Every time, how many of you see on your social media all of these stories, these ghost stories living for all the people who were killed by police? You know, it just breaks my heart every time I see these pictures of these beautiful men and women, or when I see, you know, these hate crimes, like this is what we think happened here. And to just see those left behind, sorrow that we all have in our heart. So every time we see one, we're saying something. You know, Ayanna Stanley, Tamir Rice, all of these people, our hearts, Eric Gardner, just person after person, we put our hearts out there as a community. And so I just want to say to the Nolan Wells family, you are not alone.
Barbara, I think along with the KBLA family, we join you in our sincerest condolences to the Nolan Wells family. And I am so grateful, since Brown versus the Board of Education and since the death of Emmett Till, that Black people are actually in a position to put a bounty out there. $100,000. Negroes putting a bounty on some information.
Did you hear that?
That's
and not only put a bounty, paid all the funeral expenses.
Oh yeah, we are in a position.
No GoFundMe.
But I do have a question. I do have a question. I know we got to come forward because the time is up in this segment. But I got to say this: it's just amazing that there's Negroes still left in Mississippi.
Give it all the
there's been enough terror down there for us to have just packed up and left. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on KBLA Talk 1580 with Barbara Arnwine. We're right here on the grind when we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
Michael's tax debt with the IRS was an absolute nightmare.
I ended up owing about $160,000.
Then he found out about Clarity Tax Relief.
Clarity Tax Relief are some of the nicest people. It's like being part of a family.
And when it was over,
Clarity Tax Relief saved me a boatload of money, and the garnishment stopped, which was a beautiful thing.
Call Clarity Tax Relief now. 800-644-5111. 800-644-5111. Individual results may vary. Visit claritytaxrelief.com for more.
In a world full of noise, one station keeps it real. KBLA Talk 1580, where the conversation goes deeper, the voices sound like yours, and the issues that matter most to our community take center stage. Progressive, powerful, unapologetically us. Whether you're driving through this city or tuning in from your home or office, join the public square. KBLA Talk 1580. Your home for talk that enlightens, encourages, and empowers. Listen live on our free KBLA 1580 app, on our website at KBLA1580.com, or on your radio dial at 1580 AM.
Unapologetically progressive.
Don't be anxious or confused about AI. Take control of your career when you get the skills to tackle real business problems and design specialized solutions. HR Dive reported that entry-level talent with applied AI credentials can receive up to a 25% salary boost. But where do you find training that you can trust? Future-proof your career and deliver more value with Humans Lead the Way AI. Their hybrid learning courses use practical definitions, real-world examples, and strategic insights to help you and your team understand AI with confidence. No magic, no hacks, no shortcuts. Just practical knowledge that helps you use AI more successfully. Don't wait. AI can never replace people who know how to use it well. Register for courses today at humansleadtheway.com. That's humansleadtheway.com.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality drops the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We are on the grind with Barbara Arnwine, president and founder of the Transformative Justice Coalition. And before we pivot to other issues, I do want to close the loop on this question of Mississippi. There is a reason that those of you who can hear my voice live in California and you do not live in Mississippi. There's a reason I live in the city of Chicago, Atlanta, Georgia, Greenville, South Carolina, and spend a lot of time in Washington, D.C., and I do not live in Mississippi. There is a reason why Black folk live in Atlanta, Georgia, college educated, don't want to be in Mississippi. Mississippi's history since 1954 traces a brutal, well-documented arc of racial terror, resistance, and incomplete reckoning. From 1954, early into the 1960s, it's known as the Massive Resistance Era. After Brown versus the Board of Education, Mississippi responded with open defiance. White citizen councils formed in 1954 using economic retaliation, fire rings, foreclosures, loan denials against Black families who supported integration. The state created the Sovereignty Commission in 1956, a taxpayer-funded spy agency that surveilled civil rights activists and fed information to segregationists. Lynching continued as an instrument of control. Emmett Till was murdered in 1955 in Money, Mississippi for allegedly whistling at a white woman. His killers were acquitted by an all-white jury. From 1961 to 1965, Freedom Summer and the movement years, Medgar Evers, the NAACP field secretary, was assassinated in his driveway in Jackson in 1963. In 1964, Freedom Summer, 3 civil rights workers, James Chaney, Andrew Goodman, and Michael Schwerner, were murdered near Philadelphia, Mississippi by Klansmen working with local police. Churches were bombed, homes were burned, activists beaten by police and mobs in near total impunity. Fannie Lou Hamer was jailed and beaten nearly to death in Winona for trying to register people to vote. Between 1965 and the 80s, the Voting Rights Act of 1965 began dismantling formal disenfranchisement, but Mississippi fought the implementation of that, closing public schools rather than integrate them and using large voting schemes and redistricting to dilute Black political power well into the 1980s. In the 1990s to the present, the violence became less overtly public, but persistent structurally. Mississippi retained the death penalty with stark racial disparities, maintained some of the nation's worst prison conditions, and continued underfunding majority Black school districts. High-profile killings continue to surface, like James Craig Anderson, run over and killed by white teenagers in Jackson in 2011, an attack investigators called racially motivated. And the reckoning is incomplete. Some convictions came decades later. Byron Della Beckwith wasn't convicted for murder of Medgar Evers until 1994, when he was an old man, almost too old to serve. The Chaney, Goodman, and Schwerner case saw its first state conviction in 2005. The Sovereignty Commission's files were eventually opened to the public, confirming the scale of state collusion in surveillance and repression. Mississippi is often treated as the movement's hardest ground, the place where the stakes of nonviolent resistance were most lethal. I just had to get that out. Barbara, we know a lot about Mississippi. In fact, somebody said, Mississippi, goddamn.
Oh, yes. That was a song. Folks, Mississippi is like, it reminds me so much of the entirety of the U.S., that it is a place where African Americans have bled and have fought and have struggled, have been, oppressed. And it's a place that still 37% of the population of Mississippi is Black. 37%. And folks, I want you to go see on Instagram, Marcus Farrell, Ferrell, has a wonderful, just beautiful video that he put together called "We Coming for You, Mississippi." And what he does is he breaks down the political power of Blacks in Mississippi and what's happening in Mississippi with that power and where the promise is of that power and why this repression is so ugly, because they know it too. And I want you people to go look at that video. It's powerful. It's good. And it just speaks to the reality in Mississippi. So Mississippi, evil. In the last 3 years, there have been 5 unaccounted for deaths of young Black people. Unaccounted for deaths. Strange deaths. I don't know if people have seen the brother. I said, Black folks are something else. Have you seen the brother who has the video out where he tries to lynch himself to try to show how stupid it is that they're alleging that all these Black folks have hanged themselves? And he tries to show you how dumb it is and what it would take to actually hang yourself. It is amazing that Black folks are being this thoughtful, this creative, and this this hard in this era. I had on my radio show earlier today Professor Kimberly Crenshaw, and Professor Crenshaw has a new book out called Backtalkers. And I don't know if people have seen it. It's an incredible book. You should buy it because she's the creator of one of the creators of critical race theory, which, the right wing is losing their little minds about. And she's also one of the creators. She is the creator, that is, of the concept of intersectionality. And these are basically liberation tools for really analyzing what we're going through. And she was on today just talking about this current fight against anti-Blackness in America, this current, all the deceptive and evil ways in which people, treat us. Also out today, folks, is a new poll. Oh, you know how I'm always on the polls, okay? So the Black Women's Roundtable, under the leadership of Melanie Campbell of the National Coalition for Black Civic Participation, has a new poll out of Black women talking about what's going on in America today. I recommend it to everyone. Just look it up. Black Women's Roundtable, 2026, survey, Black Women's Survey. Look it up. It just came out today. It was just released. I haven't read it in depth yet, but it's fascinating. It's a real reflection of what's happening in this country with Black folks. And I just want us to be grounded.
Barbara, what is some of the preliminary data? What is some of the preliminary data from the poll saying?
Woo! Most Black women say that their economic circumstances have gotten worse.
So they're not better off 4 years later than they were 4 years ago, that famous Ronald Reagan line.
And not only that, the job loss, which we know has been happening, is documented. 88% of them say that they are not paid equally to
wow. 88%?
88%.
Wow.
People, it's worth getting. And we should have Melanie come on with me. Probably I'll try to get her to come on next week. Unless
more than
it
welcome.
Came out today.
More than welcome.
We should walk through the poll because it is shocking. But it's not unexpected based on what we know is happening out there. By the way, people, today, why did she release the poll today? Because it's Black Women's Pay Equality Day. That this is the day everybody, you know, how many months have we been involved in? This is the day in which Black women's pay catches up to white men's pay. What is that? 7 months later?
So they're 7 months in. So for our listeners, they're 7 months into the work by the time their pay actually catches up to a comparable white man doing the same job.
You got it. The same job. The same job, folks. So I am just really, you know, I wanted to put that out there that when we consider it, my position is that every time I go down to Washington, D.C., and I see the Vietnam War Memorial, there's an Arnwine on there. That's my cousin, who I barely ever got to know because he was killed in Vietnam. My people's blood is in the soil of this country. All of our people's blood is in the soil of this country. This country has no right to tell us that they own a state that we can't live in peacefully and prosperously.
Absolutely.
We have the right to demand that Mississippi be changed, and we need to, as the brother says in the video, we coming for you. We ain't sitting back taking this madness. We're not going to let this be a territory where it's just terrifying and wrong for Black people. No. We coming like sinners. Mississippi, right? Come on now. Come on now.
Not Ryan Coogler.
You got it. Coming like sinners for you. So watch out, because we are not playing.
Barbara, I shared with our listeners yesterday on the program, because our audience is mainly in Los Angeles, California, and
I
in the
love
city
me
of
some
Chicago,
LA. Love
around
LA.
the country, that if I had to ask myself the question on the 405 or the 101 or the 5, why should Mississippi matter to me because of my busy day, I would tell you that they have 2 United States senators, that they have 4 U.S. congressmen, including one Benny Thompson, who holds Donald Trump accountable. It is a state where his district could be eliminated, consistent with the Voting Rights Act and the challenges to the Voting Rights Act of 1965. But most importantly, those senators and those House of Representatives have something to say about your health care and about your Social Security and about the role of the federal government in building highways. If you're stuck in traffic on the 405 or the 110 right now, you are there because Congress did not appropriate enough money in a highway transportation bill to make your commute easier. The quality of your life isn't just the 2 senators you voted for in California or the 2 senators we're voting for in Illinois. It takes 51 senators, 2 of which are in Mississippi, to make a difference. And it doesn't make sense in 2026 that we still have communities in Mississippi that don't have streetlights.
Hey.
I mean, sundown towns, the terror that Black people live under in some of those communities. Go ahead, Barbara, do your thing.
We have communities in Alabama that don't have public sanitation. Come on, I've seen those outhouses. Come on, folks. You know, we just have to understand that none of us are free, as Ella Baker said, until all of us are free. That there's no such thing as, you know, my family left Louisiana. My dad, as I recounted, left Texas under threat of being lynched. You know, we got to understand that even though we went to California, we didn't find peace there. You know, and every time I hear, I listen to the show and I hear Tavis talking about what's happening in Crenshaw on the Crenshaw Boulevard. I used to live near there. I lived right off of Leimert Park, for all of you LA people. And I lived there, for when I got out of college for a number of months. And I would walk up to Crenshaw all the time, and I know what people are going through. Every time I walk, like I did this weekend on Sweet Auburn Avenue in Atlanta, I see the same devastation that I've seen in LA and Crenshaw, same devastation that we've seen in Tulsa, same devastation that we've seen all over this country, Durham, where there used to be these incredible Black Wall Streets. They're all gone. They were gone, wiped out, and now they're beginning to reemerge. Kansas City reemerge. But it's only because we're doing that work. And folks, we got to have the vision, the power, the determination, and the drive to do the work.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, we're going to talk about, for just a moment, about how we can support Barbara Arnwine and her work. And then she's going to share with us what's next on the docket of our national body politic and how it impacts us. We're going to discuss that for a moment right here at KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. It's Tenacious Tuesday. We're on the grind with Barbara Arnwine. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Esther Dillard with BIN News Now. Weather officials are keeping a close eye on Tropical Storm Bertha. It's reportedly getting stronger as it passes northwest Florida's Gulf Coast. National Hurricane Center Deputy Director Jamie Rome explains why.
The storm is experiencing what we call northerly shear. Well, there's strong winds to the north that are pushing all of that shower and thunderstorm activity.
The National Hurricane Center has posted tropical storm warnings from Mexico Beach to the Alabama border. Early voting for a primary in Michigan kicks off on July 25th, which prompted the testing of voting machines on Monday. The public was invited to watch. WDIV reports Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel says this allows voters to see firsthand how tabulators securely count ballots. And the Trump administration is freezing more than $1 billion in Medicaid payments to California and Minnesota over questionable claims. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The immigration crackdown by the Trump administration has made its way to HBCU sports. Johan Sandoval, a star infielder for the baseball team at HBCU Savannah State University in Georgia, is free today after spending more than 2 weeks in detention at an ICE immigration facility in Batavia, New York. Sandoval, a native of the Dominican Republic, was detained by ICE agents after a traffic stop in New York City on July 3rd. Sandoval said he showed the agents a valid ID and proper immigration documentation. ICE officials claim Sandoval's student visa had expired. Sandoval will have to plead his case in court. Until his court date, Sandoval had to agree to wear an ankle monitor to gain his release from the detention center. Sandoval, a junior at Savannah State, was MVP of this year's HBCU Baseball All-Star Game in Atlanta. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, aka the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Listen up, KBLA delegation. We have something you need to hear. Right now, you may qualify for low-cost home internet. And we're not talking about a catch. This is real. Many internet service providers offer low-cost internet plans if anyone in your household is enrolled in CalFresh, Medi-Cal, SSI, or is income eligible. There are a lot of families in our community who deserve to be connected. Here's all you do. Call 844-461-7893. That's the Get Connected call center. Real people ready to help you enroll today. Or go online to internetforallnow.org to find a provider near you. You may also qualify for a low-cost computer through Human IT. Connectivity is not a luxury. In 2026, it's a necessity, and you deserve access just like everybody else. Call 844-461-7893. That's 844-461-7893. KBLA's got you. If you missed any of this, you can always go to our website at kbla1580.com. Brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 in partnership with the California Emerging Technology Fund, CETF.
Oh no. Straight the roof down. I don't have time. Please, God, save us. Save our house. Please, God, please.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we haven't forgotten what happened Tuesday, January 7th, 2025.
The trauma, processing the loss of our home. How do we address the compounding effect of the fire now more than 18 months later? I noticed one of my 3 children engaged in self-harm, who hasn't been able to articulate the challenges that they've had since the fire. And 4 out of the 5 folks in our household are in therapy. 1 is not. And the one that's not is the one who I noticed with some marks on their person. This isn't okay. You need to talk to someone.
Black historical memory keeps alive the stories and struggles of everyday people and communities. Black historical memory preserves truths that others attempt to erase, minimize, or distort. Black historical memory prevents history from repeating its worst chapters. At KBLA Talk 1580, we will never forget. Tune into Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr, weekends on KBLA Talk 1580. 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a whole lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Michael's Daughter Foundation is dedicated to inspiring youth and resilience through storytelling, arts, filmmaking, and enrichment programs for youth and families in under-resourced communities and system-impacted individuals. The Michael's Daughter Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit providing free and low-cost arts programs to youth and families from under-resourced communities, both system-impacted youth and those affected by the incarceration of a loved one. 1 in 43 children in America have a parent incarcerated. 70% of those children are expected to end up in prison. Through filmmaking, animation, theater, and writing, they help young people express themselves, build confidence, and imagine new possibilities. Beyond the arts, they offer financial literacy workshops, emergency support, and scholarships. Because thriving takes more than talent, it takes access. To learn more about the impact of Michael Daughters Foundation and how you can be a part of the movement, please visit their website, michaelsdaughterfoundation.com. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Quality drops the beat. Come on and talk with me.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We're on the grind with Barbara Wine, president and founder of the Transformative Coalition. Barbara currently serves as co-chair and facilitator of the National Commission for Voter Justice, the Millennial Votes Matters convenings, and the Voting Rights Alliance. She was the head of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights Under Law from February 1989 until June 2015 and holds the honorific title of President Emeritus. Barbara, welcome forward to the show.
It's good to be here.
Barbara, let's talk for a moment about how we can support your work and why the support of your work is so important.
Everyone, you can make a contribution to the Transformative Justice Coalition at tjcoalition.org, tjcoalition.org. And, you know, I have people who give me like, what, $5 a month? I have people who give much more than that, right? You know, probably triple that. Well, you know, let's just say a whole lot, like probably 100 times that. But folks, the bottom line is whatever you give is going to be used wisely. We are just I'm so happy to tell everybody, you've heard me talking about it forever on this show. We're just coming off of the Good Trouble Lives On weekend. National Weekend of Action. We had more than 600 plus accounted for events. That means people actually put them on the mobilize, but we had hundreds of other events that were unaccounted for. I am so proud of and grateful to every single person who got out there and held voter registration drives, who had teach-ins so people knew what their rights were, who preached from their pulpits, who took those TJC fans and waved them in the air with John Lewis Good Trouble, who came to Atlanta to be part of the flagship. Folks, we love you. We appreciate you, because after that unhinged, demented, and absolutely insane speech that your president gave on Thursday, and by the way, question, why did he do it on the eve of Good Trouble Lives On in July? Why did he do it? He is on a rampage to destroy our democracy and to destroy the right to vote for everybody. Remember, we talked about this, folks, that they want to shrink the electorate down as small as they can get it so that they can prevail with their evil policies. Folks, this is the first month of this year that most people are experiencing their SNAP benefit cutbacks, and it's devastating across the country. This is because that big, better, beautiful, whatever, Lion Act that they came up with just really has started impacting folks right now. And this man up here, did you guys hear him? Come on. What did he talk about? He talked about 250,000, aliens who were registered to vote. Folks, you know what that list, you remember he talked about all these docs, and you can go look at the docs. Please go look at them. Because you look at that doc, what are you going to find on there? Who you going to find a lot of on that quote list? Dead people.
Barbara, can I pivot for just a second back to a point that you were making? Can you share with our listeners the point of the Good Trouble events?
Yes.
And what the goal was accomplishing to address some of the madness that's taking place in Washington and from this demented president. Right. Share with us once again what the point was about Good Trouble.
Everybody, if you hear that expression, Good Trouble, that expression was coined by one John Lewis. John Lewis, you might know as a congressman, but before he became a congressman, he made his mark as the chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC. And, with Ella Baker and all of the others who created SNCC, he was their leader. And in 1965, the people of Selma said to him, please come and march with us, because they killed Jimmy Lee Jackson, who was only trying to be part of a demonstration and protecting his mom. The police the police killed him. And they said, let's take his body and let's, take his spirit to Montgomery. So we're going to march from Selma to Montgomery. Even though he was killed in Marion, we're going to march from Selma to Montgomery, because we got to cross that bridge symbolically, that Edmund Pettus Bridge. And John Lewis told SNCC's board that he was going to go to Selma and be there for the people of Selma and help lead the march. And they said, no, you can't. They said, it's too dangerous. You're likely to get hurt. And we forbid you to go to Selma. He's not going anyway. And they said, well, if you go, you will lose your chairmanship. We will strip you of your chairmanship. He said, I'm going anyway. He said, if that's what it's going to take, if that's what you're going to do, go ahead and do it, because I will not leave the people of Selma alone. And he went to Selma. You've seen the movie Selma, folks. It doesn't show you what I just talked about. But you will see the movie and you will see how he bravely led those people across the bridge. And people, if you want to talk about John Lewis, you got to talk about the C's, as I call it. His consciousness, his commitment, his consistency, but more than anything, number one above everything, courage. Because when they got to the apex of that bridge, they looked down and they saw those state troopers on horses with gas masks, with dogs. They saw those batons being beaten in their hands. They saw the threat to their lives. And the thing they did that history cannot reverse is that they kept on marching forward. And that is what led, and they were horribly beaten. And the cameras caught it. All of the beating, all the mistreatment, all the lives that were ultimately changed that day. But it made the whole nation conscious of how vicious Alabama's racism was and how much they were denying people the right to vote. It leads to almost a 2-week struggle, under which there then becomes the march from Selma to Montgomery, which then becomes the hallmark of laying the ground, the marker for the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
Stick a pin right there, Barbara. Stick a pin right there, because I want to bring this.
That's why we love him.
This little point to the head. And as a result of that, Barbara Arnwine's organization had more than 600 events around the country, training deputy registrars, registering people to vote, and preparing them to register people to vote for the midterms. So when we ask you for $5, for $10, for $25, or $1,000 to support the Transformative Justice Coalition, it's because right here on this radio station and on this radio show, and also on Barbara Arnwine's radio show, we are doing the work to get it done. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More on KBLA Talk 1580. Go to tjcoalition.org, tjcoalition.org, and make your contribution. More when we come forward. More with Barbara Arnwine in just a moment.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, this is Chris Holden, former mayor of Pasadena, former California Assembly member and CEO of LA Fire Justice.
Join Chris Holden and LA Fire Justice for the 27th Annual Community Block Party and Resource Fair, Saturday, August 1st from 3 to 7 p.m. on the 500 block of East Jackson Street in Pasadena. Bring the whole family for an afternoon of live entertainment, games, activities, arts and crafts, and a special performance by Altadena's own Grammy-nominated R&B artist, John B. Hosted by James Farr of KBLA Talk 1580's Conversation Live Altadena Rising, Eaton Fire survivors can connect with local organizations, recovery partners, and speak with the LA Fire Justice Team about your rights, their case against Edison, and how you can join them in the fight to hold them accountable and seek the compensation you deserve. Come, be part of an afternoon of community, connection, and support. LA Fire Justice is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Advertising Douglas Boxer, Law Office of Douglas Boxer, 221 East Walnut Street, Suite 100, Pasadena, California, 91101. With the attorney responsible for the content of this advertisement, Chris Holden.
Here's the deal. The government is over $38 trillion in debt, which means the IRS is not slowing down, and the tax code is complex and unforgiving. So it's not surprising if you're one of the millions of Americans that owe back taxes to the IRS. Unfortunately, they're the world's most powerful collection agency with the ability to garnish your wages, seize your bank account, and even take your home or business. But don't be stressed or worried any longer. We're Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. We have resolved over $3 billion in tax debt for our clients. Our award-winning professionals deal with the IRS every single day, fighting to protect our clients' assets and secure them the best possible deal. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, give Optima a call today.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Knock, knock, Capital One Bank guy.
Wow, Charles Barkley?
I just moved into the neighborhood. Can I borrow some Wi-Fi?
Sure, Chuck. That's what the Capital One Cafe is here for. Open 7 days a week.
Oh, can I use your ATM? My dog walker only takes cash.
Anything for a neighbor.
Can I try the catchphrase?
Sure, take it for a spin.
There's no fees and minimums on Capital One checking accounts.
Nice, Chuck. I'll take it from here. Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Visit CapitalOne.com/bank guide for details. Capital One and a member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Tired of being locked out of job opportunities and shut down by systemic racism? KBLA Talk 1580 stands with you in fighting for the rights of black workers, and we don't black down. The Los Angeles Black Workers Center is a dynamic alliance of workers, organized labor, community-based organizations, clergy, students, and scholars working collectively to improve the position of the black working class. The LA Black Workers Center takes a comprehensive approach to addressing the black jobs crisis. Their programs promote access to quality jobs, racial equity in hiring and retention, discrimination-free job sites, and they prepare black workers for employment in high-wage career track jobs. The LA Black Workers Center supports workers who need help protecting their rights on the job. They give workers access to quality jobs and remove systemic barriers to employment. And they are advocating for a fair deal for black workers in the new Los Angeles City Charter. To sign up for free career readiness training, get involved in organizing, or learn about union apprenticeship programs and trade registries, please visit lablackworkercenter.org. That's lablackworkercenter.org. Together, we can beat the black jobs crisis and build a more equitable Los Angeles. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley, drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. KBLA Talk 1580. Download the app.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. We're on the grind with Barbara Arnwine, president and founder of the Transformative Justice Coalition. Barbara, welcome forward to the show.
It's good to be here.
Barbara, what can we do this week? And what is coming up this week that we need to be concerned about before we get to your word of hope?
People, tonight, there's a mass call of Freedom Summer 2026, 276 African-American organizations. We're meeting tonight. We are asking you to join us. It's a mass call where we will be talking about what we got to do over these coming weeks. I want you to hear the voices of Cliff Albright and all the other people who will be speaking tonight. Melanie Campbell, who I mentioned, just did that poll, which, by the way, showed that 48% of all Black women said that they had been personally affected by, who took the poll now, personally affected by pay inequality, personally affected, and it ranges from every age group all the way through the more mature people. But you're going to see her and hear her. Tamika Mallory, you're going to see and hear her. You're going to see and hear Latasha Brown. You're going to see and hear them. Come today. This is not just about talk. This is about what we got to do. So be part of that. How do you get to that? Go to freedomsummer2026.com. freedomsummer2026.org. Look for it and you will find it and sign up and be there. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be listening. I don't always talk. I listen. I try to learn and I try to carry forth messages. Tomorrow night, we're having a debrief for everyone who participated in Good Trouble Lives On and everybody who wants to participate next year. Thank you all, Californians. You guys were magnificent. You had all those beautiful events. Love you, Los Angeles. And you can go to goodtroubleliveson.org. goodtroubleliveson.org to attend that event. We're also on this Thursday. We will be having the last of the Good Trouble 2026 National Weekend events in Washington, D.C. at McPherson Square at 7:30 p.m. Join us. Be there. So don't say that you don't know how to show up. I just gave you 3 opportunities. I understand you're not in DC, but you can get on that mass call tonight, and you can get on that debrief and future planning and what next steps are for Good Trouble. You can get on that call on Wednesday night. On Thursday night. Wednesday night. Folks, we need you. Be there tonight, Wednesday night, Thursday night. Show up and do what needs to be done. Because we don't win by just sitting around waiting for somebody else. We got to move this. Those sisters in pain from that pay discrimination, the children suffering from the SNAP benefits and the food inequality that means, insecurity. Folks, we got to do it ourselves. We got to stand up. We got to be there, and we got to register, and we better vote. Like we're losing our minds. We better vote.
Barbara, once again, because I heard a .com and a .org.
Yes.
If we want to be on the call, and we want to listen to the call of more than 200 organizations. How do we get that information?
You go to, I'm going to put it in because, I think it has both labels, frankly. But let me do this real quick, folks. Give me a second.
Barbara's working on that. This is the kind of work that we do. And a lot of it in the tech age allows us to do it. Go ahead, Barbara. I'm sorry.
It is freedomsummer2026.com. freedomsummer2026.com. We're having a mass call tonight, 8:00 p.m. Eastern, which means 5:00 Western. Please, folks, you got plenty of time to sign up, plenty of time to join that call. Tell your brothers, sisters, friends, colleagues all over the country about the call tonight.
Now, once we sign up, they send us a link. Is that what they do?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Sir.
So once you sign up, they send a link to you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very exciting to find out what the other organizations are doing. And those of you all who say we ain't doing nothing and that we ain't involved, all of that mythology falls apart when you participate in these calls. So join the call. We're not just over here at KBLA doing talk. We are doing organizing. We're making it happen. You need to find out what your counterparts are doing in other cities, other states to hold Congress, the Senate, and presidents and courts accountable. When you hear it yourself, it helps sharpen the pencil for what you do locally in Los Angeles, in Chicago, in Atlanta, in New York, and in every place where you can hear our voice at this hour. Barbara, we have about 3 minutes before we come forward. You might have a point that you want to make because I think I saw you about to say something, and then save enough time for your own word of hope, Barbara.
It's okay. Everybody, listen. There's one other thing you can do. That house is up to no good. The Congressional House of Representatives, they're up to no good under old Mike Johnson. He'll do whatever Trump says, no matter how insane. So they are actually going to try to pass the SAVE Act tomorrow. And they, remember they passed it before. They don't care if it hurts you. They don't care if it makes sure that there's no mail-in balloting ever again. They don't care if it hurts, 62 married women with different surnames than when they were born. They don't care. So, folks, we want you to care. Call 202-225-3121. You heard me, 202-225-3121. Now, tomorrow, just keep calling. Call them and say no. Vote no on the SAVE Act. No SAVE Act. And we're going to have to do this again when it gets to the Senate. Folks, last time 1.1 million of you, called in and stopped it. We're going to do what we got to do because it's ridiculous that they want to hurt voters instead of encourage voters. I also, my word of encouragement. I saw some amazing people this weekend in these streets. I saw people in little small communities walking those streets and registering voters. I saw churches with thousands registering voters. I saw churches with 50 registering voters. It's a reminder, people, like John Lewis said, not only did he say get into trouble, good trouble, necessary trouble, he also reminded us that if you see something wrong, do something. Don't just sit back and talk about it. Don't just sit back and shake your head. Do something. Everybody, this is our duty in this moment, to be the Fannie Lou's, to be the amazing people, or just to be our grandparents who fought so hard for our rights. It is up to us, and I know that we have within us the genius and the beauty, because I saw it. We brought 8 young Gen Zers to Atlanta to help us with the program. They turned it out. They were amazing. We had 2 that were already there. They were just amazing. They gave me more than hope. They gave me just a heart full of love and happiness. I came out of this weekend with happiness in my heart.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been listening to Tenacious Tuesday on the Grind with Barbara Arnwine. So grateful, Barbara. Love you. There's nothing you can do about it. Look forward to hearing you and seeing you on that call. More on KBLA Talk 1580 when we come forward.